Okay, welcome to HappyCast. This is Stephanie Leak. We are missing our other two co-hosts, so we have Ben Bridgeman stepping in to help us, especially since this is his baby that we're about to talk about, Achilles Hills. And then we have three of the women that swept the field this weekend. I'm gonna just shoot out the fact that they what they won, and then we're gonna deep dive. Because I like to start with like the headline. So we have Jaclyn Lovelady, who won last person standing. People kept saying I'm checking in for last man standing. I said, no, you're here for last person standing.
Yeah.
Because I had my money on you from the start. I was like, I want a
Me
woman.
too.
I know. Like, people that knew you were like, hey, we know that she's going to call it. And then we have Alisa Hardy, who took the most miles for the weekend. Okay, wait. So Jackie did 25 loops.
No, 26.
So 26 loops, so 108 miles. Which is a record from our highest, we think, was like 18 miles.
19 was the most we got to.
So she like beat it by a lot. We have Alisa Hardy, who did 130 miles, which beat the record was 100, right? Didn't we decide that, Ben?
Yeah, we'd never gone over the 48 hours. No one had ever, like, we didn't have a miles championship before. We were just really giving people a chance to get. Last year we went to 24 hours and 36 was the first year we jumped up to like the buckle type timed races. And we had several people, I want to say about 8, get to the 100-mile distance, and several people went to 100K, but we didn't have the miles championship. When we went up to 48 hours, we decided to do that. And then I thought we might have a few people chase it, but Alisa was the only one that really did it. She saw that buckle from the get-go and called it hers. And
I'll tell you, even if I had just done a 36-hour, I finished in under 36 hours.
Yeah, no,
125 I did.
Yeah, no, you were crushed. You were moving silky smooth the entire day. No doubt.
So I want Ben, no matter whether you want to dismiss the fact that we had more time this year, Alisa swept with the mile championship. People last year could have gone more miles, but we don't know anybody that went more than 100.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Lisa, you did 100 last year, correct? So this is your second year to do the 100 miles.
Yes.
And this year, she did it with a 20-pound pack. And sometimes she had a 25-pound pack.
I was going to say, I was corrected because she told me, yes. I said that because I posted the 20-pound weight vest, but she said, well, actually, when I went with the rucksack, it was 25 pounds.
And I was like, how bad?
She had the minimum of a 20-pound sack on.
Well, she had 25 on when I was with you at the end.
So she thought Achilles Hill was so easy last year in 36 hours that she needed to up her game, apparently. And
a little bit.
Create her own ruck division.
So she swept the ruck division.
Yes.
I love it.
I mean, that's what I was like. It was such an impressive performance. It is on this female-dominated episode of HappyCast. That's how Achilles Hill really was. I mean, the most impressive performances were by the ladies. And I still remember Jackie saying, you think I'm going to let him win? Hell no. I've got all these women counting on me. And I was like, I mean, I knew she was on fire anyway, but when she said that after loop 25, I was like, oh man, she's got this in the bag now.
But she looked so chill and relaxed the whole time.
She knew what she was doing.
I mean, she ran a very smart race. Like, it never got like, some of these people will run those quick loops and then they'll run slower loops because they're dying as they go or whatever. I mean, Aaron ran a really good race too. He stuck to his guns. His was always within I would say about 2 to 3 minutes of his normal loop, but Jackie was too. I mean, and there's a reason why 2 strong runners that executed their races really, really well went so long.
Okay, so Jackie, have you ever done a last person standing event before?
No, that's my first.
And you had no idea
I
how
wanted to for a long time. I had no idea. I remember asking it, do people wear trail shoes? Because I had no idea. And yeah, road shoes were smart.
Yeah, that's for that course out there. I mean, there's really, I would just say max cushion's what you want, and you don't want a lot of tread. Like, that's where I think when you get on the gravel road part and then the blacktop surface, like, it would just tear the shit out of your feet. So you're better off if you don't have as good a traction over the pasture part, the dirt part, you're better off at a little bit less shoe there, and then basically wear for what's going to be on that gravel on the road, I would think.
Yeah.
Right, Harper?
Okay, and
Yep. That's
all
what I
three of
learned.
y'all started at 6 p.m. on Friday.
Our ones, the 48, what Lisa and Alisa did were 6, and then the last person standings is at the bottom of the hour.
Yes.
I try to do that so
Okay.
we keep it, we can keep it divided up and know who's doing what.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do y'all feel about a night start?
I liked it.
I think it's a little challenging because you immediately go into the nighttime. That's always kind of a struggle. You go to sleep or something, or some of us have already been up all day, so it's hard. It already feels like you're going into the first night, and you're going to have another night after that. It's kind of mentally challenging.
Well, and I'd been up since 6 Friday morning because I had to go to work before I came out. And at noon on Saturday, Chuck said, "You go take a nap." He said,
Oh,
"You
wait,
need
did
a
he
nap."
really?
Yeah. And I told him, I said, "I want to get to 75 miles before I take a nap." And he goes, "What mileage are you at?" And I said, 68. And I was going out into the pasture. And when I came out of the pasture, I said, "Okay, I'm going to go take a nap."
So Chuck, I've never seen him grumpy. And he was grumpy this weekend. That was unusual. So I was with Liz at packet pickup, and since I asked if there was anything we're not allowed to talk about, and Ben did not mention this, there was a fiasco with the shirt order that we didn't have the right shirt ordered. And so Liz and I did packet pickup, and we said, "Ben, walk away. We're going to blame you, but walk away so no one's going to come talk to you about it." And we took on hey, you ordered 2 days ago. You are not going to have the shirt that you wanted from 2 days ago. Like, you can't order last minute and get the shirt. So we had that fiasco. And then Chuck did not show up until later. So then we put him on parking duty. And then I don't know what happened with y'all that first night, but he woke up and was grumpy when I came back Saturday morning.
Chuck's just a grumpy old bastard. That's just who he is. We're really good friends on that, but I will call him out even when we're running together and he's doing his grumpiness. I'm like, dude, get your shit together. Quit being so grumpy. We're out in the middle of the woods doing this shit for fun. Oh no, but I want to get finished quicker.
With the buckle. He was dancing with the buckle every time I came through.
Well, he comes and goes. His moods are back and forth. It goes back and forth with him. He'll be happy one minute and then it's like grumpy as hell the next. That's just Chuck.
Yeah.
Well, it's like he got his coffee or something happened, like, because in the morning he started out like grumpy, and then he turned around and Liz and I were like, "Oh, okay, he's nice again. We're gonna be okay." Like, it was just funny. So he told you to sleep, but he was obvious at that time he was goofing off and playing around. But do you think that was beneficial for you to lay down when you were 68 miles in?
Yeah. I took I ate a hamburger that Ben's brother cooked, and then I changed my clothes and took about a 40-minute nap, and it was like a whole new day when I woke up. So, yeah.
Well, can I tell you the thought on that night start was the LPS kept on struggling to get past 17 or 18 every year, and it's because we started at 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, and even if you got to the point where you got to the nighttime, that day stretch from like say 9 a.m. or so to 6 p.m. was just so hot on the runners that even when it cooled off, you couldn't do anything about it. Like you might have one runner strong enough to keep going. Chad a few years, Brian McKinney 1 year. I think really if Chad hadn't gotten to Aaron's head 1 year, might have been able to, because Aaron got second 3 years ago, won it last year, second again this year. I think Aaron would have been able to push further, but a little bit further, but the heat was really terrible on everybody. So I moved it back to 6. And then also went with the longer races to kind of have those people out there. I think they kind of all feed off each other a little bit when you see the people are doing the slower races, like they can take their time out there, but then they see the people having to buzz by. And there's a little bit of that back and forth. So you're never completely, like even when we got down to Jackie and Aaron, they weren't on their own. They were out there with somebody on the course, like they get to see people. And I think that anytime, you know, as runners, we all do this shit, that you get that little bit of camaraderie and you feed off each other a bit when you see that. I mean, there's like a little bit of a vibe when you go by somebody that just says, and I know, Jackie, probably every woman that you saw was giving you, you know, a fist pump, a slap on the back, a 5 or whatever, that you had to feel really good about.
Yeah, that kept me going a lot.
I think that's the
I
nice
enjoyed
thing
the
about
night
that.
start. I felt like we had just enough loops in that I at least knew where I was going. But I'm used to going into the night, you know, 50 miles deep, etc. And nights are usually pretty hard. You start getting close to sunrise, and it's all you can do to keep going. But this one, I felt good through the night because, I mean, we were still relatively fresh as far as I was concerned. So I enjoyed starting at night.
That's how I
I
am.
mean, there was a
'Cause
possibility of going to another night. That would have been hard.
But having fresh legs going into the first night is like so different than any other 100-miler you can do. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so what was Alisa, you had your eyes on the 125 going into this race,
Right.
correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Lisa, what was your goal? Was your goal 100 miles going into this race?
Yeah, just to at least keep 100 miles. But then I did see that 125 buckle and I liked it. So, I mean, well, next year, if you're adding that 100, you know, of course, I'm going to 200 miles. That's my goal for next year. But
Well, and I'll tell you, when Ben said last year 125, I went, ooh. And at that point, of course, you know, I had not completed my first 100-miler. I was still failing at that. And so after Grasslands, I just didn't feel satisfied enough. I don't know how to explain the feeling. I just felt like I just didn't feel satisfied enough. And so then I was like, okay. And you know, I didn't tell my coach what I was doing. So she was really a little mad at me and proud at the same time. But I told my husband before I left that I was going to go for the 125, and he was like, oh yeah, whatever, you know. So, but then when I saw that buckle, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm doing it. I'm not leaving until I have it.
Can I just say that knowing that course, because you've seen it before, Alyssa,
Uh-huh.
never in my heart would I see that 125-mile buckle and say I would want to go for it.
I never figured I would, because that's what that is.
And Ben, isn't that how Chuck feels about it too?
Well, I mean, we both went and did. I'm sure he does but he's ran more miles out there, at least on the like course proper, than I have. We did the 100 miles together last year in July, just because we both wanted our own Achilles Hill buckle. So we just did our own self-supported race out there where we did all sorts of goofy shit. We ran the loop a few times, like 3 or 4 times, and we did. I mean, where we just did the pasture, then we did part of the pasture, like doing a half mile one way, a half mile back. Like we took our aid station out to the pasture and set up for a bit. I mean, it was a bit all over the place, but you know, that course just, for a fairly easy course in terms of, you know, it's not technical, it's not that hilly, but it chews your feet up really, really bad. And it's so exposed to, even when it's not hot, it's hot, you know? And so I think everybody gets the feel of that. But I mean, we'll see this year with the 100-hour edition, how people, I've already had some people from out of state message about adding it to their list and trying to figure out the logistics of it. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to try to sell you on a sexy course. It's a sexy atmosphere, but it's not a sexy course, you know?
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna need to make shirts that say "fuck you, Ben," like they made "fuck you, Rob" for habanero. If anyone feels like that, wants to start that, you know, I'll buy one.
Go for it. Yeah, I'm really surprised by the people that actually return, like Lisa that did 100 miles, and Justin Smith from Oklahoma. There's a couple others, but people that have been out there before and know the misery of the course and said, you know, I'll be back. And Aaron, who was in LPS with Jackie, you know, to come back and do it again. I mean, that's his 3rd time running that. Garen and Emily, you know, there's been a lot of repeaters out there that have got a lot of damn miles on that course that keep coming back. I don't know what a lot of it is, the atmosphere and the people that are around. Definitely not the course. You're not coming for the course. You're coming for the group of people and the camaraderie. But yeah, I mean, it really is like the people around there. I was in my feels being annoyed with work and life on Wednesday before Achilles Hill. And I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to do this ever again. This just too much bullshit. And then, you know, by the time I don't even know if we had 5 people there even setting up, and I'm already like, oh, I'm so glad I do this. I can't wait. You know, I'm going to add more hours. Then I was talking about adding a day, and by the time I got through the weekend, like, now we're just going to make it 100 hours. We're not doing 72 or 80. We'll just go ahead and bump it up to 100 so people can chase a 200-mile buckle. And it's because the community is just so, I don't know, there's so many good people that show up, and you know, there's so many people that support the runners throughout the race. Like, it really is, it's awesome seeing the people that just jump in out of nowhere that don't even really know people that well sometimes too. And like, what can I do for you? What can I get you? Can I go out there and pace you on this loop or something? It's just, I don't know. It's what makes you love the sport. And I will say, I did one of the ladies from Georgia, and a couple other people from Houston, and where's Scott from? Lisa, is he Tyler area?
Tyler area, yeah.
But like, I was told from at least those 3 people, like, we don't get this in our area. Like, I don't know what you guys got going on here. What's in the water in North Texas? I am so sorry for this contribution. But yes. Yes, she's really finding her voice. But anyway, just like the community feel that we have and support that we have in North Texas, I think we're spoiled by it because we think it should be like that everywhere, and I think it's pretty unique. And I do think that's what makes the race. Like, I get credit for, oh, this is so great. I'm like, man, if it wasn't for these type of people that show up, that's what makes the race. Like, having these unique people that come out here and are here to support each other and just show up, like Kat Stewart. You know, some of those people that just jumped out of, you know, they were not running at all. They just showed up to help crew and pay some of their Fort Worth people, you know, and there was people like that from the DDR group. And I don't know. And I know like Jackie, you had friends out there that were doing your crew and stuff, and that were good. Like, they brought good energy and stuff. I don't know. There's just all that stuff. Lindsay Duffield came out there later with her husband and kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, drove like 3 hours to come out there and hang out for a few hours. I don't know. It's really unique. And like I said, that's what makes that race. And when people ask, that's what I sell them on.
Well, see, that was the thing. So I went home Friday night, came back Saturday morning, left for a Memorial Saturday midday, came back Saturday night, thinking I would leave sometime Sunday early morning because I wanted to be there till the end. And then I stayed over Saturday night. And then I was like, as soon as Ben comes back from his nap, I'm putting that in quotes. We're on YouTube so y'all can see this, his nap. He left at 10 p.m. He said, I'm going to take a nap. And then the second he got in the
First
car
off, it was 11, not 10.
Okay.
It was 11.
He was like, as the second he got in the car with Liz, I was like, he's not fucking coming back. He is going to bed with his wife. And sure enough, I did not bug him. Okay. Cause I was like, I'm going to wait till sunrise. But I was like 2, 3, I was like, he's not taking a nap. So as soon as he came back, I was like, I'm leaving. And then there's no way I could have left. Like, as soon as he came back, I felt free that my volunteer duties were over because he could handle it. And then I was like, oh, I'm staying till the end because I was going to stop. I was going to go home when he came back. And then, hold on, let me.
Yeah,
So
the
I
little
was-
echo there.
Lisa, can you switch that echo cancellation?
Oh, let me see. Sorry, my computer just went crazy. Maybe.
Lost
When
her again.
I know, she'll hop back in. When he got back, I was like, well, hell, there's no way I'm leaving. And even knowing I had 12 more hours out there.
What's up, Lisa?
My laptop just went crazy, so I'm on my phone trying to get back in. Here it comes, I think. I'm sorry.
Don't
You
feel
should be able to do
bad.
the same thing I did earlier, like on my iPad. There's the little settings buttons down the bottom left corner, and then you should be able to go to echo cancellation. Now we got 2 Lisas.
Now we got 2. Hang on, I'm gonna sing. Okay, let me get out of here. I'm sorry.
Oh, look, it fixed echo.
Yeah, you're better on that one. All right,
good.
sweet.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so what I was saying was that when Ben got back, I was relieved of my volunteer duties. And then even knowing I had 12 hours, no change of clothes, no toothbrush, I didn't have dog food. I had to start bumming dog food. Like I was the irresponsible parent.
She probably ate like 5 hamburgers. What are you
Oh my
talking
God.
about?
You're not sure what else she ate.
And she ate some gummies or some mushrooms or something.
She got into something.
For real.
It was a frog or edibles. They were not mine. Whatever she got into, she was not coherent. She was wobbly but she was not lethargic. She was like, so I text Ben, I was like, get your ass down here. I need to go to the vet. And then when he walks down, my dog sprints to greet him and runs him in. And he's like, what the fuck is wrong with your dog? I was like, I swear she's not okay. She couldn't walk, but she could run. She's got an ultra runner's heart. So, in her heart, she wanted to run. And so there's no way I was leaving. But once Ben came back, I was like, are you ready for a beer mile, Lisa? I was like, let's go. And so I was able to do loops with her. And then I was like, there's no way I'm leaving. I mean, and I don't think even after Lisa finished, we stayed for a couple hours. Like we didn't even like.
I mean, it was a 48-hour race and it wasn't over yet.
I know we had no rush to get out there. Me and Lisa stayed. And then I kept saying, okay, we're going to go. And then Ben's like, oh, my brother's making burgers. And I was like, make me a sandwich. Fuck the patriarchy. But he did make us burgers the next day as well before we left. But it's like, it is that community. Like I wanted to go because I was so tired. And then I was like, there's no way. Like, in my heart, I was like, I can't go. I need to borrow dog food. We're going to live off of Nutter Butters and Fritos because there's no fucking food
beer.
left. And beer. Oh, yes.
Don't forget you're living off beer.
And then on the beer loop, okay, my dog decides she's going to go do a loop and she gets tired walking 2 miles. But she goes with us and Lisa can verify she's like running ahead and we're doing just a mile in the pasture. She'd run, come back, run and come back. We get to the little, I wouldn't call it a pond. It's, what would you call that? A water reservoir?
No.
Not pond.
It's covered in moss and green. Okay.
It is a pond, but it's where we've had so much rain. That spot there where you're talking about where she ran in is like, that's where it's overflowed out and just settled there a little bit. So that's why it wasn't that deep, but it is covered in moss.
Okay, so I foresee her doing this. She's going to run straight into it. So the first time she comes back, she listens, she doesn't go in. We go around another corner. She goes straight sprinting into this mossy pond. Her collar is stained green because of the moss she got into. And Lisa turns to me and she goes, I'm not going in after her. And I was like, fuck, like I'm the mom. Like I got to go after her. So I'm like,
your child.
I didn't even think about it. When Lisa said that, I looked at her, I was like, fuck. So I put my beer down on the ground and I go to the edge and I'm like, come here. Thank God she can swim because I did not, like, all I could think is like, I have to be the one to go in, but I don't want to go in that water. So she swam out and she just went off about her life, like just ran some more, dried off and like couldn't walk straight, but she could run. Mm. So the environment is definitely the reason we go out there. Okay, so Jackie, what was your goal going in? Because this is kind of like an unlimited race that you were stepping into.
It's interesting because I haven't done a long race since like November of 22 was my last 100, well, I guess technically 100K. And then I paced a friend almost 100 miles. And I just really didn't have a lot of confidence in my ability to go along, which is why I signed up for it. So I had no real expectation. I think realistically, I wanted to go 24 hours because that's 100 miles and I've done that before, but I didn't know with this particular type of format what that was going to look like. But I would say that had to have been my goal right there, was at least 100.
Was that really 2022? You ran the 100K and I want to say you placed, didn't you? First? And then you went and paced afterwards? And then you paced afterwards?
Yeah, because Sue, so that's why she was here taking care of me on this one, because she owed me. So she was out there and it was below freezing, and that's her nemesis. And she had not really set herself up with pacers. So I'm like, if she's going to be successful, then I need to get out there with her. So I did.
And you went in not confident, and we went in putting our money on you. Like, how crazy is that
I
for a
love it.
weekend?
But you guys don't realize how much that made me want to be the only finisher. Like, you guys were a lot of the reason why I finally concluded, like, I'm gonna give it my everything. And if my everything's not enough, then hey, that's that. But I mean, it was one of those, like, I was having a hard time like finding my why, because honestly, I mean, this was just, it worked out with my training. Like right now I'm training to do the Grand Canyon in October. And so I'm like, I can go long to fix my confidence issues, because I don't know if I can, and still recover in time to do the Grand Canyon. So I was like, I mean, and I leave tomorrow for Mexico. So I'm like, I mean, I can wreck myself. Realistically, like, I was willing to wreck myself just to see what was possible. And, I think going beyond 100 was, if everything went well, what I wanted to be able to do, and everything ended up going well, generally.
What do you like? Did you have a strategy though? I know you said you wanted to do one. Did you know like what your pace roughly needed to be? Like
So
where you
when
were
I
trying to
heard
finish
that,
the loop?
yep. So when I heard Garen had gotten second place before, and y'all pointed out Aaron being first, I kind of positioned myself between the two of them on the first several loops just to see what they were doing, because clearly they knew what they were doing and I had no idea. So in putting myself between the two of them, I found kind of a good speed. And so I eventually got to where like I knew what parts I walked, where I started jogging, which hills I ate on, what time I should be at certain points. And so once I had that figured out, I mean, I just generally stuck to that.
The only time I got kind of worried, I think, was after it was down to you two, and I can't remember if it was the first loop or the second loop. And he came in quite a bit before you, like 4 or 5 minutes. For the first time, really, all day, you were like
I
52,
think
53 minutes.
he was playing a really good mental game. I think he was flexing, trying to mess
I
with my
definitely
head a
think,
little
well,
bit.
because that's what had taken him out. It's happened to other, so it really happened our first year with Brian McKinney did it, and it almost wiped out. There was 4 or 5 people left, including Garen, and it wiped the field out. Garen tried to do it with Jose the next year, and it bit him in the ass. Chad did it to Aaron a couple of years ago, and it worked. I mean, it really, Chad, when Aaron was kind of feel like, I don't know if I could beat this guy, and then he runs a 42-minute, at 75 miles in, he's like, well,
my
I'm out.
thought on that is I basically concluded, like, I'm not racing him. He can go fast and wear himself out. I'm racing the clock. So
Exactly.
I know when I need to be back to have enough time to get back out. So I was like, that's how I had to play that one in my head, is like I know what he's trying to do, and I'm not going to let that work, and I'm going to stick to what's been working for me. So but that was one moment. I mean, I almost did start questioning, like, have I got what it takes?
No,
I
saw the look on your face. That's the only time I really like gave any sort of, I just said, hey, Jackie, you basically flip-flop loops. This is what you've been doing the entire time. Stick to your guns. You're okay. And go back out and do another loop. And then, you took care of yourself like you.
That was about the same time husband and my youngest showed up too. So, I mean, they just showed up and they hadn't seen the battle that had been taking place. And so having them come right then too pumped a little bit of extra life into me. And I was like, I can't quit on this.
I just love that you went into this needing a confidence booster. Like, this just blows my mind. Every time we have like a strong female on here, it's always like Rachel, the one that won Cocodona, like struggles with imposter syndrome. And I'm like, you have the course record. You're like the queen of Cocodona. You won 2 years in a row. Like, how can women, badass women, like not see it? And I think it's like it shows so I feel like you are way more badass than me, but I am secure enough in myself to know that I will never race you. Like, I'm never going to try to beat you in a race. I will race you. I'll race with you, but I'm not going to try to beat you.
Do a beer mile.
And right, yes. And I'll support you. And when we can get past our insecurities and support each other, we all got to be a part of this like amazing female weekend. And then from what I heard, I missed when you finished. I hurried back, but that you got a picture with all the females. I'm like, Ben's mom's in there. And like,
I love that
love
there are
that.
the multi-generations in that picture. That's pretty doggone cool. But on the last lap, I mean, I couldn't believe, like, I was running, I'm like, as long as I get back on time, like, I've won this. Like, there's an actual end. And I couldn't. So I'd come up on the ladies and I'd be like, ladies, you want to know why they call it last person standing and not last man standing? I'm like, because women can win too. And so I'm like, if you can be anywhere near the finish line, like I need all of you ladies who have helped push me the entire time. Like I need you there. So I think Pamela ran through right as I finished, and I was too excited about stopping my watch because I could finally stop my watch. But I wish I'd had her right there too. And I saw that on the video. But yeah, I was like, any lady, come on, that is what kept me going and pushed me. Like it had to be for the ladies.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Which is
I love
badass
it.
seeing like Harper out there with all these badass women doing badass things. I just like, yeah, it was a really cool weekend.
Even like
All your
Aaron,
brothers.
his wife and his daughter were there, and I was just like, they were so kind to me and cheering for me and stuff. And I wanted to be like, I know your dad and husband didn't win, but I mean, ladies, we still won.
Right.
They were so sweet.
Yeah.
Ben, your brother told me I curse too much.
Philip thinks he's really funny, and
I was like, "Fuck the patriarchy" when you said that.
You're his type of person he can cut up with though, because you'll just jab right back. But yeah, I was
playing the feminine music at the end.
Oh God,
that was great.
Yeah, ridiculous. But yeah. Go ahead.
Okay,
Stephanie.
So Alyssa, what motivated you? Because you have to tell us a little bit about what happened because you didn't know whether you were stopping at
I like the
125. You
atmosphere
finished
out there. That's the fun part is, where you're never by yourself, but it's really interesting starting out with the same people.
Go ahead, Jackie.
I'm not the only one that does it.
Oh, there she is.
There may be a delay.
Yeah, there is a little bit of one.
Alyssa, what was your tell us the story because you finished 125 while Ben was still napping.
I have to say it was Stephanie was on an inflatable mattress right next to the start finish line, and every time I would come through, she'd poke her head up, and I'd tell her how much more I had to go.
Right. So this who bashes me for quote unquote napping after being up for 40 some odd straight hours is giving me shit, but she was sleeping more than I was next to the damn.
Hey, I hid the mattress before you came back.
I know. She tried to get rid of the evidence of her even sleeping by the time no, it was just a pallet for the dog. Get the hell out of here.
Oh no, she did great.
I need better volunteers next year. There's no doubt.
Well,
you see if someone stays overnight. I got to pass out the most buckles, I think.
Dude, I got Alicia and her husband came down last year. She would have done it again this year, but she had hip surgery. So we'll see. I'm going to need help because I'll probably be up off and on from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on how long the LPS goes.
And damn you for doing this, Ben, because now I'm like.
I mean, but the thing is, like, for people to go, part of my thought process with the whole thing with keeping things cheap, like it is in the atmosphere, like it is, you're basically $15 pays for your food for the most part. And then we pay $40 covers your buckle. And so that's what we're charging for. And then we're going to add a little bit more to that to the 200-mile people or the 100-hour people so they can cover a couple more meals. But it also makes it, because it's a timed race, it's not a DNF race. Like you quit whenever you quit. If you show up and you run a half a mile for 100 hours and decided I don't want to run this, then you ran half a mile. That's all there is to it. And then, but it gives somebody, if you have 100 hours that go like, I will never do a 200-mile race. I'm not paying $1,000, $2,000 to go do these races to do something like this. But you pay, $80 or something is probably what I'm going to charge to run for 100 hours. You might think, you know what? I might be able to do 200 miles out here. I have the time. I can do this.
Right.
And that's the thought process behind like trying to do this race this way. Because I'm not in the business of race directing. So I can make it bare bones cheap as possible. And then I get the benefit of being around all these crazy people and having all this fun. I mean, I suck at the energy feeds me too. I mean, it's awesome to be able to be out there and fist bump and high five and hug, and I mean, I've literally wiped tears from people when they're so upset. It's just badass to be out there a part of it. So, I mean, people are paying.
Well, do you want me to answer your question, Stephanie?
Yes.
No,
Not
I was
funny.
just, so you were there when I came in at 125, and I went and changed my clothes and laid down for a bit. And when I got up, Ben's brother was cooking breakfast. So I had some breakfast, and he said, "Hey, Charmin's going to take a nap and she's going to go back out." And I was like, "What?" And so I said, "What do you think?" And he goes, Charmin. And Charmin, she's badass. And so I was like, damn it. Went back over there, put my shoes on and went back out. And once I started out again, I knew if I had to go to 150, I was going to. I was going to go until
Well,
I needed to.
Harper, what I was telling you is I didn't think it would take very much. I thought Charmin really wasn't trying to win the overall miles buckle. I think she wanted the 125 buckle.
She wanted the 125.
So I thought if you even did like 127 or something, she'd be like, "Okay, it's all you. I want the other buckle."
Right. Yeah, she's pretty great. I spent a lot of miles with her, and but I wouldn't have put it past her to go out there and try, And so that's why I was like, well, I'll just stay out here as long as I need to, I guess.
She told me what was motivating her to catch you was then when you dropped our ass at Grasslands there on the blue loop. So we're still mad.
I told you why I did that.
We're still mad.
I was scared of quitting.
No, we're still mad about it.
Well, you still beat me.
That's what I love about like pushing each other. Like, well, we had done the math, and because you finished your 125 so early, like you had the possibility that are you going to wait 12 hours for someone to come take it? Do you know what I mean? There was over than 12 hours left because it was still dark when you finished. And so when she laid down, she had enough time to do a 15-minute nap and then do 20-minute miles and do the 25.
Absolutely.
So that's when I was like, oh, fuck, someone's got to go tell.
Well, and Marissa called me. And she said, you better get back out there. She's going to come out and try to take it. And I was like, crap. So
that's why I didn't know how serious, because I talked to her husband. I went over there and talked to Wade, and I said, what's the situation here? What are we thinking? And he says, after this nap, she's going to get back out there and keep going for miles on it. Oh shit. Charmin being Charmin. Yeah, we might have a fight to the finish on this thing after all, which I was definitely not expecting.
Right. Well, and I text my friend Andrea Summers. I don't know how many of y'all know her, but she told me, she said, you stay out there. You stay out there. Even if you have to go all day long, you stay out there.
Yeah.
I said, Charmin's taking me on. It
would be a tough pill to swallow to be that far ahead and then let it go. But you know that the one guy, the one like dominant male performance out there was that guy, Darren Green. He did a 20-hour and 40-minute 100 miler. Yeah. But he said he was going to.
We don't need to mention the male performances.
Well, but Stephanie, you'll appreciate this because even though he had the fastest 100 miler, what's that, Harper? He said he was going for 150. That was his goal. Him and Justin Weed both were going for 150 minimum. And I told him, I said that, you're moving super quick and you're going to crush the record that Shane had set the year before in 23 and a half hours for the 100 miler. And he just kept the pedal down. And when he got done with that 100 miles, he sat down and took his shoes off and like grabbed a burger, went to the pool for a while, came back, sat there some more. I was thinking, man, I think he's done. I've never met him before, but I was like, that's sitting up. That's not doing what Alisa did, where she was like, I don't know, move consistently and look like, when I saw her the next morning after 125, I was like, yeah, she can go a lot longer. Like, she's good to go. That dude looked like he had been like possibly ran over or something.
About mile 90, when he was around mile 90, I could tell he was getting tired.
Yeah, he had really pushed his pace the entire time.
He had.
And so he had he gave up the lead. I mean, he was 25 miles ahead of everybody at that point. He was way out in front. but he just couldn't get up and get going anymore. And that was his race. He changed from overall miles winner to, well, I'll take the 100-mile course record and call it good.
Right.
Okay, so Alisa ran through the entire night. Like she was running. I was like, who the fuck? Like who is running? And we thought there was one lady that was also running out there. They're like, is she gonna beat her? No, she was pacing Emily Hill for 50 miles. And so the lady that was running real fast was trying to finish up her 50. She paced for less than 50, and she wanted to get to 50 while she was out there. So that's why she was running so fast, because we're sharing, Alisa, this is who your competition is. Like there's one person, I think
All
there's one
the
person
women were
running
stopping me. You got to do this. You got to do this.
Well, the one person I thought might also contend with her was the lady from where is she?
Colorado.
Monument, Colorado is where her name's Gina Harcrow, and she's done some really nice, like she finished Cocodona a year ago in 24. I think she's finished Western States a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
She's a legit badass runner, and she's doing same race Lisa's doing, Ball State. Is that July, Lisa, or August?
Yeah, it's July 10th.
So, but she was carrying, she didn't have a pack on the entire time, like a weighted vest, but she had what she needs for Ball State. So she had, like, I think she said like 15 or so pounds in her pack. Like it was fairly heavy, but I think originally was going to go for all 48 hours. And then after enough time on that stupid pavement / rock / pasture, she was probably 50 or so miles in. And she said when she got to 100, she would probably call it. But
I ran with her for a while, and she had already told me that she was going to stop at 100 miles. So I already knew that she was going to be done. But you know how that is. You never know. You may change your mind. And in that case, you have the option to change your mind as much as you want to. And so
I've seen Wayne go home, go back to his campsite and sleep for 8 hours and come back, even though he's DNF in a race, just to get another loop in at Dino Valley to be like, I made it past.
Right.
You.
Yeah, that's what Wayne told me when I put on my shoes to go back out. Wayne said, "This is the way you do it, girl. This is the way you do it." But the lady from Colorado, I was probably 20 miles ahead of her. And if I just kept, like you told me, Ben, like just keep moving consistently, I knew that it should be hard pressed to catch me.
I would also,
to be miles champion, that's kind of got to be the strategy, is stay moved. Like everybody that moved quickly all blew up.
Yeah.
Every one of them that got it, like, oh man, I'm setting the bar so high that no one can catch me. They all stopped either at 100K or 100 miles.
Yeah.
I would also like to say that, yes, this race is the perfect opportunity to test limits and like do hard things, but it is also a double-edged sword, because it is so easy when you have 48 hours to stop at the 100K and take that buckle, or even say, hey, it's not a DNF. I can take my 50K. I feel like that's a productive day, and walk away. So that's where it's like the three of y'all showed extreme grit. Lisa being the last one out there and just like taking a break, going back for more, taking a break. Like I was not even prepared to go back out there for the last pacing gig. When she said she was hitting the road, I was like, I don't have enough clothes because we're going to be all exposed. I had to borrow one of her shirts.
Well, because she had to get a sun shirt to go out there. Yeah.
It was
well,
what? It was dirty when I gave it back.
Stephanie, you walked off though, and like we're going, I can't remember if you had to go use the bathroom or something, but you were gone. And she had been sticking to pasture loops, right? So that's what you were expecting, was other pasture loops. She had like 3.5 miles to go or something like that. And then when you were gone, Lisa goes, I'm so sick of that fucking pasture. I'm going to the road.
And then I was like, fuck, I'm not ready. I can't do this.
Yeah, the look on your face when Lisa said, I'm going to the road was, I wish we'd had a camera for that moment right there, because you were like,
I was ready to be done.
Charmin told me she did 40 miles straight in the pasture last year.
Ugh.
she was stuck out there. She was out there for a long time this year. Like I thought one point, because you guys were near each other in terms of miles at one point, like fairly early on, 50K
yeah, we
in or
spent the
something.
first 55 miles together.
That's what I was thinking of, something like, I couldn't remember what, but anyway, all of a sudden I didn't see Charmin anymore. And I thought, oh shit, she must really be feeling terrible and she's out. And like laying down and crashing. And so she's not going to be competing for that overall miles. Cause I definitely had her thinking in my mind would be competing for the overall miles champion. Unlike some other people that claim they were going to go for a long time. I knew that there were some other people that actually had the ability and could do the shit. And she's one of them. for sure. And when I didn't see her, I thought, oh no. And then someone told me that she'd just been out in the pasture for a while, that she'd been going out there for a few hours and was still
She
moving.
struggled when the sun came up, and it was only like 10 o'clock Saturday morning, and she was struggling with that heat. And I said, oh, Charmin, if you're already struggling with the heat, man, it's going to be a long day. And she had a few times where she said she was just kind of melted down and had to go sit and cool off. And, you know, I felt
But she
bad for
didn't
her.
quit. That's what
She
I'm saying.
didn't
That's
quit. Yeah.
when you sit down, it gives you more opportunity to not get back up.
Right.
Like Lisa, you took breaks and you knew there was no chance that you were not getting back up.
And
Tell us
Lisa
how you
didn't
had
tell me
that
about
grit.
her popsicles. I saw them on the video.
That was our little
What's that?
secret we found last year, and I think everybody found out, and everybody went out for coffee. I think the Saturday morning for coffee, and we talked to the lady that ran the gas station. I was like, "What are you doing?" And we're like, we're just giving you a lot of business. It's fine. We're sending everybody up the hill."
Well, the lady from Georgia told me, what was her name? Paula. She told me that there's nothing left at the store. Everything, it's sold
I even
out.
bought a big hat, like a huge sun. I was like, I'm buying that hat. Like,
Oh, that you didn't
Are you
bring that hat,
serious?
Lisa?
no, I
didn't know you
bought it.
I never went up to the store. I stayed on the path.
Good for you,
Hey,
Alyssa. But
side quests are magical. You find popsicles.
I mean, I also think that is a little bit of the attraction to the race itself too, for the people that know it, that you get to do what you want to for the most part. Like once
Right.
I want you to be able to like adjust to what you need to do for yourself. It just makes the pressure's off on me too, to where I'm not like having to sit there and count the laps. Like, I mean, you know, like I said, people could they could cheat with their watch if they wanted to, but for the most part, you'd have to be such a fantastic actor to like be out there on the course for a while, but then like hiding away and then coming back.
And why would you want to?
Right. I mean, that'd be a hell. Like you spend 2 days, I don't know, fiddle fucking around out there in the pasture for a little bit and making a walk by. I'm like, you might as well just go ahead and cover the miles anyway at that point.
Right.
But
Liz and I were real careful at the beginning. Like when we were passing out the bibs, we said, hey, we're checking watches. Just because you want that freedom to do what you want, but you want some kind of like consistency on.
Well, and I stayed true to the loops for the first 100 miles. I did the loop. I did them backwards. I did them forwards, but I stayed true to the loop for the first 100 miles. And then I did some pasture loops and then went back out to the road. I was a little nervous about being out on the road at nighttime. And so, I stuck a little bit more to the pastures. And then Pamela was like, come on, let's go back up here, and it ended up being good for me to get off.
That's one thing I need to do. Speaking of that nighttime on the road, I need to make sure we make a note of like people need lights for the road, like in terms of like the
there
road,
were
like
people
the
out there
blinking light
without
stuff.
lights that first night.
Yeah.
But I think that's so they could listen to your conversation. No, but I had my Kogala on, and Shashi did not care for that. Gave me a hard time about it, but I want to see, I want to see everything. And
Lisa,
that first year I ran this race, Ben, y'all had killed a cottonmouth by your sock tank.
I think the cows had killed that thing, actually. We didn't kill it. It was just there, dead.
I think about that. I thought about that every single loop.
Trust me, because somebody got off course or something happened, and I had to run down there to check something. And I almost stepped on that thing, and I almost shit my pants because it was big. Yeah, it was a fairly big one, and like had that diamond shaped, poisonous, venomous head, and it scared the shit out of me. And then I'm like, oh, it didn't move. And then I look back when I came back by him, oh, it's dead. Yeah. So
I think about that every single time now.
I do too. When I start mowing things, you can get ready to think like, am I going to run across a snake right here?
Well, I'm not scared of snakes, but venomous, I kind of.
Yeah, no, for me, the most part when they scare me is when I don't see them like that, and you almost step on them, which is what I literally jumped over it because that's how close I came to stepping on it, and then it wouldn't matter because it was dead anyway.
Well, and Amanda's boyfriend Jackson went down there fishing on your stock tank. And he said he was down there in his flip flops, and I told him about that snake. I was like, Jackson.
I mean, the guy's a fisher in Texas. He knows good enough that there's going to be snakes around.
Right.
But Lisa, I want to know, like, from you when you were especially that second day, that pack on, I was hot. I went out there with you and did a couple miles with you there towards the end. And I was toasty, and I was in a tank top, and you were in your, you had a sun shirt on, and you had I think at that point you had the 25-pound rucksack on. What was the worst part?
I think the backpack, the ruck is for temperature wise better, because the vest, was on, full front and back. And it was actually, I took it off because it was rubbing my stomach raw just about. So, but I didn't feel overheated. It just, I had to keep adjusting it more often on my shoulders to help with just more the weight. I wasn't really feeling overheated or anything from wearing it. Really?
Because it looked like, to me, I was sitting there beside you and then watching you too when you were coming through, just like, it looks kind of like low on it, like it feels like it would pull on your shoulders a lot, and that would make it uncomfortable. And then just for me, when I wear a bladder and that parts of my back and it's just so hot cooking, that's what I'm thinking like the whole time when you have that. I'm like, man, that just looks hot and miserable, and I want no part of it.
I was so thankful that it was her carrying it, not me, when I was with her.
I mean, that's what I was just like. And that's when I made the notes about the race and stuff. She was last person to finish her 100 miles, but she was also the only person carrying 20 to 25 pounds the entire time. So it was definitely noteworthy that she was able to do this 100 miles that way. Because I don't think if that was like a mandatory thing that you were doing, that not many people would go that far, no matter how much time they had. That's a tough.
Every mile I did in the month of May was with a minimum of, except for I dropped my weight for your race, but 30 pounds or more is what I did every mile, because I was actually rehabbing an ankle injury, and rucking is actually very low impact. So I spent every mile just pretty much walking with weight for my workouts.
I thought there wasn't much science behind that ruck stuff.
There's a lot of science behind it. It's
very. I heard somebody. I
just justified walking.
Justified walk.
Justified.
And you know what? You had the most grit out of everyone. Because Ben and I couldn't even consistently pace you. I had to tap out, and Ben had to step in, and then Ben tapped out, and I went back in.
I didn't tap out. You said you had dibs on it. Is what you said. The only reason why you tapped out,
I didn't know we were going to the road.
You were a little bit drunk. Let's face it. You're a little bit sleep deprived. Had a couple of beers at 9 a.m.
We were all just delirious.
You're right.
Ben, I want to see you move at that 10-minute walking pace you have with a rucksack on.
Shit.
Oh my God.
No. I mean, I get some practice with Harper when we go. We still move at a pretty quick pace at times, but it's also for a 10K or even a 10-mile thing, not 100 miles. And it's not on that shitty ass road either out there. I mean, I don't think people realize how bad that course is on your feet. I mean, it really is absolutely.
That was the main thing that hurt on me was my.
I mean, I think that's what people say. What's the toughest part? And I'm like, it's a combination of either the terrain sucks or the exposure, depending on how warm it is.
Well, and okay, Lisa, didn't you say when you picked up your pack to start the race, what were you thinking? That it was light, you're missing something?
So my weight vest has been at 30 pounds forever. That's what I do at Jackalope Jam. But I know with the heat, it's smarter and safer to drop the weight. And yeah, when I swapped out the plates and I picked it up to put it in my car, I was looking around. I was like, I dropped a plate. I didn't feel like it didn't weigh I thought it was just the pack. It had no weight plates in it. It was very light.
You really just didn't want to be a turtle at this one, did you, Lisa?
I almost got my money's worth. Like I said, I still had over 2 hours that I could have used.
Oh my God.
And it was tough at the end, and everybody.
And I am so grateful for both of you, because I've never really had a crew. I hate asking and accepting help, I guess you can say. I'm always just I'll figure it out and do it on my own. And having both of you there to cool me off, literally feed me food.
Who got the picture of the grapes? I said, you know what? Let me feed you grapes.
I took the video.
A queen.
Lisa has it. I sent it to her.
I have the video.
She's got it.
I was like, let me feed you grapes. And then
Jackie, it sounds like we were deprived.
I got the royal treatment.
When you're down to the final rudder, we're all just sitting there. We want to make sure she gets finished. So we're like, yes. I mean, I'm changing her shoes. I took her sandals off. I got her shoes out for her. We're putting the cool towels on her. And then, Stephanie has the grapes. And it's like,
And later she's like, no, I don't need you to feed it to me. I can feed myself.
Yeah.
I almost choked to death.
I know, that's why I was like, but it was fun. Like, that's what I'm saying. But we were goofing off. Like,
We were having fun.
we were having fun.
Well, I mean, she was no pressure because she knew she was going to finish. It was just a matter of
Right.
how long she wanted to sit out there and keep goofing off and having fun.
I was having a good time.
It was a fun, and everybody was wonderful. Everybody's out there trying to do hard stuff, and everybody was helping each other, even just cheering each other on. And I'm like what Jackie said earlier. I think it really helps to keep going when everybody's like, high-fiving you and cheering you on and checking on you and making sure Kat, every time I came in, Kat was like, what can I get for you? What do you need? What do you want me to make? And it's just, it's wonderful to have that kind of community.
I would say the one thing that I think helps keep you going too is if the group knows that your goal is 100 miles, whatever your goal is. If you say that out loud, then the people around you are going to say, what can we do to get you back up and out there? Right. Instead of, I don't know, I'm just out here to get some miles. If you do that and then you're sitting in your chair, no one's necessarily going to say, hey, don't you need to get your ass going?
Yeah.
What can we do to get you back out there and keep moving? But if you've got a big goal, people are probably going to help you, more than likely going to help you get yourself going and get out there and keep moving.
Right. Well, just watching Jackie in her race just drove me along. I finally got to a point where I was like, what are you doing here? Why are you still here?
I mean, it really is inspirational. It was hard not to be inspired by stuff. That
it was wonderful. Yeah.
It was really cool. And like seeing the, I had no doubt that it was going to be Aaron and Jackie, especially once the race got going after about 2 loops. I didn't know for sure, Jackie, how you handled heat, and I didn't know what your training was like going in.
But I was game plan going for that one.
But I was like, I know you're a strong runner though, so I was like early on, and then I just saw the way you were running, and I thought, okay, here's our 2 lead horses, and just how long is this thing going to go? And you guys didn't disappoint at all. I mean, it was inspiring.
It almost felt like, though, at some points it was like, come on,
Aaron
man,
was
let's
so
go.
kind.
Because it was a female being assisted by a male.
That's right. We got to help you go.
I wasn't going to keep going. If he wasn't
the men are always
going,
carrying the women along. Men are carrying the women along, and we let y'all get credit. That's how we do.
Okay, you're talking over her, Jackie. Go ahead and share what you were about to say. I'm gonna mute you, Ben.
Aaron was so kind when we got down to just our first lap. That was he and I. He's like, I knew you were competition from the get-go. And I said, how? Why? Tell me what? And he said, just watching you run and your build, you could tell it's just an efficient run. And I was like, that was very kind of him. But I mean, I'm so thankful for him, because if you don't have good competition out there, you can't go doing that many kind of laps. You've got to have somebody there in order to keep going. So I was very thankful for him. But yeah, he was a great person to compete with and run alongside of.
Well, just so you know, Jackie, that he will be back next year. Okay. And I've talked to Chad Sawyer, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be back next year. I'm trying to get the biggest of our big LPS winners, like the best of the best. That sounds like a good
time to me.
So yeah, you need to do a best of the best. That would be awesome.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see Jackie, Aaron, and Chad battle this thing out till like Tuesday or some shit.
Oh
yeah.
So where did you put your trophy? Where did you put your Achilles trophy?
It's in my room right now on my dresser. I'm like, it's so cute. I don't know where the exact location will be forever, but it's not going to live in my attic in a box. So it's like the rest.
Yeah, even though we upgraded and got fancy buckles, we're always going to keep the LPS, just that little goofy handmade figurine on top of a little block with a marker on there that says who the winner is.
Yeah, it made me so happy. I'm like, that's fun because it's very different. I love that Achilles is out there. Like, he's a hoot.
He does too. Boy, that dog was.
I'm going to suggest that we call it a back pasture ultra and not a backyard ultra, because it's a back pasture ultra.
For sure.
That first night where it was so humid, my feet were wet all night, and I waited as long as I possibly could, because I'm like, what is the point of changing shoes and socks if I'm going to go run through wet grass again? So I waited until the sun came up, and I think 1 or 2 more laps, and finally I'm like, I have got to get some fresh shoes and socks on. And at that point, I mean, my feet were pretty nasty looking. it was a sloppy tape job, because that's the hard part about having to be on that line every hour. Like I ran in faster because I knew I was going to do a shoe and sock change. But even then, when I saw how bad they were, I'm like, oh gosh, because usually Ultra's foot care is like number one. You stop and you take time for that. This one, you don't have it. And so I hurried and slapped my socks on, forgot my trail toes, went running. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's not great. Here we are, carry on.
That really is part of the like strategy of battle, though. Like when you're, depending on what type of runner you are too, like, do you have enough gas in the tank? Like, let's say you've been doing and can do 52, 54 consistent miles day after, hour after hour after hour. But then you finally have that moment where you have a foot change, or sock and shoe change you need to do, or a bathroom issue, whatever. And then you don't have enough gas to like drop it to a 48 or something and then take care of those things. Then your race is probably over, because then you're like getting there real quick, trying to change out real quick. You don't get your food, and maybe you don't take care of that stuff. And then next thing you know, you got to be on the line, you got to go out. And then all it takes is that one time where you fucked up on nutrition now for one loop, and then you're chasing that. And before too long, you're like, I don't have it anymore. Even though you're a damn good runner, and but it could knock you out just like that. So like having enough
it takes one bad loop. That's it.
Yeah.
LPS, just one bad loop, and it can destroy everything that you can't have one bad loop.
You really can't, especially that bad. Like,
I was marking splits so I could look back after this and see what kind of times I was coming in with, because I like to go back and analyze what I did, because like I said, that was my first. I had no idea what I was doing. So that's why I was messing with my watch as I was marking splits. And so I've gone back and I've averaged, it was right around 9 minutes that I was coming in with time to get changed out, ready for next loop, on the line, go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would roughly guess that. I would have said you were always about 51, 52.
I was wondering how much time you had each time.
Yeah, there was once or twice you were below 50. Aaron was like always about 90 seconds behind you, I would say. And he had a couple times where he came in early. And then one time he came in a little bit later, but then like rebounded right back. And I was really surprised because he did that, but he kept on talking about 100 miles. And I do think once you have a loose goal like that in your mind and you start saying that out loud, then you get to that goal, then it's how much further. And then I don't remember if I told you this or Jackie afterwards, but he had said to me, he goes, when I talked to him, like, why? Like, what's your thought? And he goes, and this should make you feel really good, I hope. He said, well, I know I've got maybe 5 more loops in me, but I think she's got a lot more. I don't think that'll be enough to beat her. And that's what made him stop. He thought
you took him down. It doesn't matter how you took him down.
Yeah.
He was like,
I would see her coming down the hill, and I'd go, I don't see him, Jackie. I don't see him.
He was such a good sport, and I remember him saying while we were out there, we had just hit 100, and he says, I think I got 5 more laps in me. And I was like, okay, good, because I've calculated that if we make it to 10:30, we'll hit 125 miles, and that's a different buckle. And I'm training for a 240-mile race. So the longer we go, the better for me. And that was his last lap.
Oh my God, this makes me so happy.
I am female. I do know how to be.
And she said to me, do you know why they call it the last person standing? Because sometimes the woman wins.
Yes.
I mean, that's why I call it that. I mean, I think it's very important that it's the last person standing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we just needed to give it a real reason. But man, and I'm so lining up when I went to take off and he didn't, and I was like, wait, what just happened? Wait, what just happened? And like I said, it was just so surreal. And so then I had to go run, and I couldn't stand there and be a girl and all emotional and crying and stuff. I had to go run and make it back in an hour. But that last lap, man, that was some good stuff. That just these other ladies out there celebrating with me, and that was a neat format. I really liked that.
Yeah. I will have to say that Chuck was rooting for Aaron the entire time. So
was
Chuck.
He?
Yeah. He's like,
I gotta send a "fuck you, Chuck" message.
He was like,
maybe we'll make a shirt that says "fuck you, Chuck."
No, he was getting pissed off. Last person. It's a last man standing. That's what he kept saying.
There's no way, y'all. There's no way Chuck was saying that. But if so, I'll take care of it. I do know that I kept screaming, "I'm here for the women's race." And one time, Dylan Weiner turned to me and he's like, "Enough of that." And I was like, "Sorry, we're rooting for you too, but I'm rooting for the women's race."
Well, once Jackie won, we were like, we got to give Stephanie her weekend. She
Yes,
needs the
y'all gotta
whole,
close
the women
this
to take it
out.
out. Yeah, we're going to close this
Yes.
out. So.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up with a can't let it go. So it's just a moment where you share something that's on your mind, something that it doesn't have to be running related. Um, Lisa, do you want to go first? I can go first if not.
You go first. Let me think on
Okay. So Jackie, you were looking at your splits. So I'm have a 3-week turnover. I'm about to do another 100-miler on Saturday in Colorado, and I'm trying to wrap my head around like what I'm doing. So I was looking at my splits from Cruel Jewel and looking at the vert, because in Colorado it's going to be like 9,200 feet to 9,700 feet. And so I'm like, okay, so the max climbing I'll have is like 500 feet at a time. That's not a lot. So I was like, okay, so what was my Cruel Jewel? What was my max? And I found a mile on 3 miles on Cruel Jewel where I was having my panic attack with Jenny and I was in my real bad mood, 55 to 57. I climbed 394 feet, 578 feet, and then 823 feet over 3 miles. And so I was like, fuck, I think I'm ready for this one. Like the max I could climb is 500 feet at a time. So I'm like, there's no way, like, just wrapping my head around this is not, it's going to be completely different than Cruel Jewel. So, but I love looking at the stats and going and looking at the splits and analyzing the data too, because that's how we learn from it and how we can see, you know, what we can change. That's my can't let it go. Lisa, do you want more time?
No, I was just thinking of, 5 weeks I'm starting Vol State. So I just went out with a brand new, I got a bigger pack.
Are you rucking the entire 314
I'm
miles?
not wrecking Vol State. Some people, I actually talked about this. I was like, it wouldn't really be a flex because some people wear like hiking backpacks for it and some people just carry a wallet. But, I don't ever do like front water bottles. So I'm trying that. So I'm just kind of trying to dial in all my gear and researching and listening to podcasts and reading books and trying to make sure I don't get lost. That's my biggest fear is Scott's that was out there. Has done it a couple of times. And one time he went 10 miles in the wrong direction and he just had to turn around and get him 10 miles back.
Oh my God.
It was the middle of the night. He took a nap. So I'm terrified of, I don't have no sense of direction. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around this whole adventure that I'm going on.
Alisa, what is your can't let it go?
I just think that I guess really, don't ever give up. It took me 3 tries to finish a 100-miler, and I'm watching some of my friends now that are trying to get that 100-miler. And I think it's easy to surround yourself with the kind of people like we do that are doing these amazing things and to feel like, we want to do them too. And then I think one of the failures that I had was when I finished Grasslands, finally, I was like, my opinion on it was, well, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. And really don't do that to yourself. You be more proud of yourself and keep driving and it comes. And I think once you finish that 100-miler, you figure it out, and you know what it's about to push yourself through. And so anybody out there still trying, still down on themselves, don't do it. Stay strong, keep doing it. I had a 2-year downfall before I was finally able to pull myself out of it and get it done. And so that's mine. Yeah, just don't give up.
Keep showing up for sure.
Yeah, keep showing up. Even if you're slow, even if you're fast, keep showing up. You can do it.
Okay, Jackie, what's your can't let it go?
Oh, I just sat here trying to think of this and I forgot you do that on this podcast. So mine, my only other motivation I had going out there is I've got someone in my life that is suffering pretty doggone hard. Like what's being thrown at her is absolutely unreal. And so I kind of was doing part of that race for her because when I have people ask me why I do these kind of events, it took me a lot of years, but I finally think I've pinpointed as like, that is my way to practice suffering. Like, that is suffering that I choose to do on my terms, because all I know about life is we're all going to suffer, whether we want to or not. And to an extent, suffering's in your head, it's a choice. But either way, I just have to remember, like, I choose to do that on purpose to suffer, because there will come times again in my life that I will suffer without any choice in the matter. And it's just a matter of training my brain that suffering is a choice. So that's all I got.
Did you have crew with you? You said your husband showed up later, but were you doing those 9-minute turnovers with no crew?
No, I had some friends show up. So Sue Luck, that I've always done the 100-milers with, she came out, and then two of my friends that they're not really even runners. The one, she's just started running. I'm looking for a half marathon for her. But no, they really, and they've never seen an event like this, but they caught on quick. Like, I gave them their
'Cause you can't
instructions,
do
and
that, yeah.
They look like they had a lot of fun. Look like they got
Yeah.
into it and looked like they were having fun. So
They did.
that was
Yeah,
fun.
they made it. Man, I couldn't have done it without them. I mean, when I was to the point, like, I did not want to eat. My stomach was sick that whole time. They'd come sit down and they'd sit me back in my chair. My job was to open my mouth and eat whatever they put in it, because I just was saying no to everything. So I guess my job was lean back and eat whatever they stuck in my mouth. And then they gave me food to go out on course. And if I didn't come back with wrappers, I was in big trouble. So
I love that.
I love it.
yeah.
Okay, Ben, what's your can't let it go?
A couple things. First off is I got clearance. I told you this earlier, Stephanie, that my ankle is healed. The fracture is healed and I can start. I was told to not be dumb, I think, or what you say, go easy. So, a couple loops with you at Divide, a good 50K to get things going would probably be all right, especially at a hike pace. But
okay, wait, his hike pace. I'm going to be running, though. I'm going to be shuffling.
Yeah.
I have to run to keep up with this hike pace.
Yeah. Keep bragging on me. Thank you. No, one of the things I think of is last week, and I still have not let go, is how enjoyable everything is. And it like enough to make my wife, who is, almost 6 months pregnant, leave her job on Thursday evening, drive part of the way, get up Friday morning, drive all the way down there, work at the, do the packet pickup and bib handout stuff, and be there through Saturday night, get up Sunday morning and turn around and drive back. I mean, she was there for, not even a full 48 hours. And she did that just because how much she loves being a part of it, and how that's like, again, the people that show up to do that just bring out such energy and such a good atmosphere that it just makes everybody want to be a part of it, even if it's, a 10-hour drive one direction, 10.5-hour drive one direction, that, my wife didn't want to miss out on it. And I think that was just like, I don't know, just makes me more fond of the weekend, like that. Because I tried talking her out of, play, just stay home. We've got this. I'm not missing it, and another strong independent woman. Another strong independent woman, showing us up on the weekend. And just like it was badass. And the one we did not mention today, of speaking of women, between Alisa and Jackie and Lisa, Amy Garcia, who only signed up for 12 hours and did not sign up for a buckle race because she was just going to run 12 hours. Ran 100K in that 12 hours.
Oh, wow, nice.
So
she's ran 100K before.
Yeah.
Her 100K at Dino Valley was a 25-hour 100K. And she fucking knocked out a 12-hour.
She really did.
She was flying the entire time. I asked her at one point, I know she was like 10 hours in. I'm like, where are you at? And she's like running through 48 miles, I think. And I'm like, it's like, I think she's gonna get 100K. Yeah, she was moving and
Nice.
And so then but she was I handed her a buckle when she was done that she wasn't expecting, but she was so exhausted and out of everything. She was like, had this look on her face. And then she finally said it. I was like, are you about to cry? I'm thinking. And she said, I'm trying to cry, but I can't. I have no tears. I'm
dehydrated.
Bless her heart.
Yeah, it was awesome. No, but she was so appreciative of just the race and everything too. It was just another good moment out there. I mean, I felt like, 100 of them out there. It was awesome. And so, that weekend, like I said, and Liz being able to be part of it, just, and of course, my whole family. It's just, for non-runners, my brother, my mom, my dad don't give two shits about running, but they do love Achilles Hill weekend. And then also, I should mention the fact that we were able to raise even with that minimal cost that we do, we're still able to raise money for charity. We were able to raise $700 for Alzheimer's research and prevention. So that was really cool.
Great.
Yeah.
I need to give a shout out to my girl Devin, who did her first 100-miler.
Oh my God!
I
Yes,
know.
So amazing.
I love. She kept that to herself. Like I didn't know that
Congratulations.
until I gave her a buckle. That was so
Yeah.
badass.
Well,
She was
she's
able to
done
fucking-
100Ks, and then she was like, maybe, and then like she just
Yeah.
Just kept
kept
powering
going.
through.
Well,
And I
just-
have to
so-
say, everybody that was setting up when they first got there, Devin jumped right in and helped.
Yes.
She was
Yeah.
amazing. So
Well, that's when she stopped it. She was like just over 100K, and she said that her brother and her husband both said to her, "Don't be a baby, don't be a puss, and get up and keep moving." And I was like, "Yeah, you pussy," and she's laughing about it. And I had no idea because I thought she had done a 100-miler before. Like they were just giving her shit, like, "Don't be a quitter." And then when it was all said and done, that was her first. So like I kind
love
of
it.
regret my shit talking, Devin,
Yeah.
but she was like,
What an
actually, that all
asshole.
helped. Like,
You can take it.
yeah.
but she was like, that actually helped. Like all the men that were shit talking her brother, her husband, and me. She was like, that made me get up and keep going. And then when she got to 75, she said there was no stopping her at that point. That she was going to keep going until she got it done, which
Good.
was really cool.
I'm proud of her.
Yes, just what a wonderful women weekend full of women empowering other women, like saying you're badass and I want to be a part of it. Like it just
Yeah.
gets me all in my feels.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
and
it
there
when
was me
women
and Chuck were there
support
too.
each other.
Yeah,
Me
but
and
we're
Chuck were there
making
too,
sure-
supporting each other.
And then there's Chuck and Ben.
Yeah. And Achilles. Come on.
Thanks for letting the
three
women
boys.
tower over you this weekend.
Yes.
What about Lola? What about Lola?
I know.
Lola's
Lola,
part of the
that
girl
bitch.
gang.
Yeah, she's part of the girl gang out there stealing Achilles' attention and snacks. Good Lord.
And getting
She's
everyone
banned.
running.
I loved it.
She was actually a really good mix. I mean, she got along with everybody. All
I
the
kept
other
telling
dogs really
Stephanie,
well.
Stephanie, your
Right.
daughter's over here making a mess. Stephanie, your daughter's getting into everything.
I saw Marissa last night, and she's like, "I should know your dog's name because you were screaming it all night." Because she slept for 14 hours. Like she would not even get out of bed. I was like, "You have to eat. We have to go outside. Like you have to get out of bed." She was purely exhausted.
Well,
from
she ran
listening
around
to-
like a crackhead for hours.
That sounds like Darren, though. He was you talk about him going to go take a nap. He had messaged me on Friday or Thursday. Hey, I'm coming out there. I'll be out there at night. I'll help night runners overnight. I can spell you or Chuck or whoever's up. And then he's about midnight, went to his car, and he did not get up till like 8:30 in the morning. Like he slept in his car. I think all the crewing and stuff he's been doing in his own 100K last weekend caught up to him. But yeah, that was even Kathy and I were on Chuck. We're all giving him shit for taking like the best sleep he's had in a couple of weeks. Was in
In a
his car
car.
at Achilles Hill. Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
Well, thank y'all for coming on and sharing your story and hopefully inspiring other women to do hard things, or any human, I guess, that struggles. We can support all humans, but women especially, because just hearing stories about doing
I am coming out to
support.
support you this weekend, right?
Yes. You're in the
Okay, I'm
human
just making
category.
Okay, all right.
We'll
I
count
heard
you as
Ben say, "What about me? What about me?"
I know. I'm like,
you're the default sex, okay? So don't get me going. That's what I kept saying. I think people would. Chuck said something. I'm like, you're the default. Like, let me celebrate the women. So it was lots of fun sharing on women and seeing like the results, the show up, and like it all happening. So thank you for coming on and sharing your story. We're gonna wrap this up with happy endings. Year of the women.
You're the women.
You're the woman.
Here for the women's race.
yeah, no, I'm here for the men's race.